Hey, welcome to the Fupaa Lover Lounge Show. It's the host, Fupaa Man Lover Shug. It's a show featuring various talents of the plus-size community. This show features Alycia Michelle. She talks about being a plus model, the pros and cons of being a plus model fashion industry, a two-time cancer survivor, and an author. So you might want to check this story out. It's real interesting. So hope you all enjoy. Comment below and make sure you subscribe to Fupaa Man Lover TV on YouTube.
So explain to the people who is Alycia Michelle.
Alycia Michelle is a 42-year-old author, model, motivational speaker, host, writing consultant, and a two-time breast cancer survivor. I grew up in Waco, Texas. I've lived in Oklahoma City. I am a military veteran. I've traveled to Alaska, Georgia, South Carolina. I have 3 adult children, and I have been modeling since 2018. I've been writing since 2014.
So growing up between Texas and Oklahoma, how was life for you growing up?
It was good. I was adopted by my grandparents when I was 1 year old. So growing up, I was the baby. My male cousins were kind of like my brothers. They helped raise me. I endured playing in the creek at a young age down in Waco, so I am not scared of reptiles, hence frogs, turtles, snakes, lizards. I was a tomboy. You know, I like to climb trees and play football and basketball, so I wasn't really the girly girl type growing up.
Okay. You know, the crazy part is, like, a lot of tomboys somebody was telling me they was a tomboy. Like, they always end up being the thick ones.
Yep. I've had a butt in the hips since I was probably like 8 or 9. So yeah, I don't know. We used to say it was something in the water, but it's probably climbing out of the trees.
So what made you want to become an author?
I started writing poetry in college. I used to compete in the poetry slams that they had on the university, and I always placed. And so I turned one of my poems one time into a short story, and I submitted it online, and it got accepted. And after that, I kept going with the short stories, and my sister read one, and she was like, "You need to turn this into a book." And I was like, "Nah, I'm not writing no book." I was like, "This is a little personal." She's like, "Nah." She was like, "This needs to be a book." So I literally wrote the short story in 2007, and it took me 7 years to, like, really finish it and get it published. And that was my first book that I ever released.
Was you influenced by anyone before you started writing?
At the time, you know, it was the 90s, so I read a lot of Eric Jerome Dickey and Terry McMillan, Carl Weber. You know, those were, you know, books that I had really just started getting into. So that was kind of an influence, because I love the story, you know, the way that you can think of something in your mind frame and put it out there that's total fiction, but it seems so real.
So far, how many books have you released?
I have released 12. I'm finishing up my 13th book now. It should be out this summer.
You definitely got a catalog on you.
Oh, yeah.
So where could people purchase your book at?
All of my books are available on Amazon.com. I have 3 books available on Walmart.com, and I have 1 book available on BarnesandNoble.com. So you would just type Alycia Morris in on the search bar, and all of them will pop up.
Okay. So, like, when you started writing your book, was it hard, like, as far as trying to get your book published to the world?
It wasn't really hard. At the time, I kind of did my research and looked around for a publisher, and I found a publication that, she was for new authors, people who are just getting started out. And, I thought it was legit. It was good for about the first 6 months. I had 2 books. Well, no, I had almost 3 books with her, and then I found out she was skimming money. So I left that publisher, and I went to another publisher. And this publisher he was known in the industry, but he wasn't known in a good way.
Okay.
I didn't really know that when I got in with him. Someone else had referred me to him, and they were like, he's good people. And I was like, okay. And while I was underneath his publication, I probably only made about $60. Whereas with the other publication, I was making $200-$300 a month, off my books, but I should have been making about $500 or $600 because she was skimming an extra 25% off the top. So after I got scorned the second time, I decided to become self-published. So there's no middleman with me. The only person I pay is my graphic design artist, is the one who does my covers for my books. I pay my promotion team once the book comes out to promote it on social media and things like that. But other than that, I do everything. I write, I format, I edit. It's all me.
So, like, when you write, is it like from a personal experience, or do you just have creative imagery that pops up in your head?
I write both. I write fiction and I write nonfiction. I've written about 4 books that are nonfiction that are about my story and my journey with breast cancer. But I've also written murder mysteries, suspense thrillers, erotica, romance. Some of them do stem from personal experiences. Some of them are just ideas that have come to mind. And I'm like, I've never read anything like that. Okay, let me write it. So it just depends on what comes to me, what kind of characters come to me. So yeah.
Most people usually have writer's block. Do that come into play for you? And if so,
yeah.
Okay, so how do you handle it?
You have to step away. I'll tell any of my authors, if you ever get writer's block, that's a good thing. That just means that you have so much creativity in you that it's all trying to come out at one time. And so it's blocking what you're actually looking for at the time. So getting writer's block is okay. You just step away. Give yourself a day. Give yourself a week if you need to. Go out, live life, because a lot of authors, this is that they're dedicated to it, especially if they work a 9-to-5 job. They go to work, they come home, they write. That's what they're doing. There's no partying, there's no going out, there's no vacation, nothing like that. So sometimes you have to step away and, just reset. Go out, have a good time, go to dinner, go catch a movie, just do something for yourself, and then open your laptop back up and get back at it. And the creativity just starts flowing again.
So far, from what you've written, what would you consider your favorite book?
Foul Play. That was my first murder mystery that I wrote. It is about 376 pages long. That's my baby.
Okay. Do you mind giving a little teeny example of what the book about?
So Foul Play is about two high-profile families. One family owns their own law company. Another family is very high in the medical field. The mother is the chief of staff of a hospital. Their children end up dating each other, but they're not supposed to be dating each other because the mother once had an affair with the father he's an attorney, and it just got very ugly over time. And within that time period, a lot of people lost their lives because they just didn't know how to keep their mouth shut. And also greed and jealousy came into play. So, but the killer in the end is what shocks you.
So do you have a book club where everybody get together and just read pages?
I don't. My book has been a part of some book clubs, but I have never just did one myself.
Okay. So do you see yourself writing films, especially how you create your own imagery for your books?
Yes, sir. I'm currently in the process now of writing Foul Play into a script.
I definitely need to check that out.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited. It's hard, but then it's not hard because since I'm writing from a manuscript that's already been written instead of writing from scratch, so it's a little bit easier. But since it's really long, we had to kind of figure out if we wanted to just write it all at once and then go through and cut, or if I'm going to cut as I write.
Okay,
so that's the issue we're going on, because a 400-page book into a movie, that's like a 3-hour-long movie. So you got to kind of, we got to cut it to at least 2 hours. So it's like there's a lot of things that are going to have to be cut out, but it's like, what do you cut out? So we're having to go through that process right now.
Okay, gotcha. So for people that want to start writing books but don't know how to go about it, how would you assist them?
First off, we do a consultation, and I find out what it is you're wanting to write about and why you're wanting to write about it. What amped you to want to write a book. And after that, we go through a timeline. Like, how soon are you wanting the book to be released? Are you wanting to do this for profit? Or are you just wanting to do this to tell a story? We do an outline. I tell you everything that I'm going to assist you with. And, your fees. If you do take me on as being your consultant, I'm at your disclosure through your whole writing experience. So that means if you get stuck about something and you don't really know how you should word it, you can hit me up and we'll discuss it. If you don't know which direction you want your storyline to go in, we discuss it. But I'm here to help you to understand the process, because it's not as easy as people think. It's not just writing a manuscript and you just turn it over to somebody. No. I always encourage first-time writers to self-publish their first time around. Don't go with a publisher or anything like that. You need to do it yourself so you can see the full process.
Okay, that's cool. So do you mind speaking about your cancer situation?
Sure. I was first diagnosed in 2016. I had just turned 36, and it wasn't, let's just say, I wasn't prepared. You know, when you think of breast cancer, you think of people older, you know, not you. And it's just like, oh my gosh, what is really going on? Like, literally, once the woman told me I had breast cancer, I didn't hear anything after that except Charlie Brown. Wah, wonk, wah, wonk, wonk, wonk. Like, I totally, like, tuned her out. So, I did chemotherapy to start, and then I made the decision to have my left breast removed because the chemotherapy was just a little too much for me. And then I still had to undergo some chemotherapy after that, but it wasn't as aggressive. And I was deemed cancer-free in July of 2017. And literally, like, almost a year later is when I started modeling to show that, you know, your body is not what defines your beauty. Because even though I only had one breast, I knew I was still gorgeous. I knew I was still beautiful. I knew I was still a queen. And I was like, I've got to stop letting my physical body hinder me for doing things that I really want to do. And after that, it's kind of when I started being like an advocate for women, you know, for you don't have to be worried about what your body looks like. If this is something that you want to do, then you can do it no matter what. I've done photo shoots with, you know, showing where my scar is, and because I did not have reconstructive surgery. So everything was going great. And then 2020 comes around. Of course, the pandemic, COVID, everything. I lost my mom August of 2020, and literally 4 days after her funeral, they told me my breast cancer had came back.
Wow.
So went through the whole process all over again. I had to go through chemotherapy again. I had to have another surgery again. I had to go through radiation this time. And so this time, though, I didn't let it stop me. Like the first time, I just kind of was like at home. You know, I wasn't working as much. I was still writing my books. I actually put out 3 books my first time when I got diagnosed. But this time I was still writing books. I was still doing fashion shows. I was still doing photo shoots. I was going to work. Like, I was doing everything. Like, it just seemed like it was just another date on the calendar for me. Like, I didn't let it stop me.
I can imagine, like, really, like, messing with your head when you first heard about it.
It did. It really did. And it was really hard because at the time, 2 years prior, my mom had had a stroke. And so she was paralyzed on her right side. She couldn't really talk. So the person that I would normally confide in, I couldn't.
Yeah.
You know, because the rest of the family, you know, we were like, I didn't want to say anything to her because I didn't want to upset her, you know, in any form, fashion. I didn't want her worried about me. So, you know, it was kind of like mum's the word. Like, we didn't say anything, you know. So, but that was the one person that I had always talked to about everything. So it was really hard. It was, like, extremely hard not being able to, like, go to my mom and be like, plus she was a nurse. So it was like,
yeah.
My mom had been a nurse for, like, 20 years. So it's like, this is the only person that I would even remotely ask a question to, and I couldn't. So, yeah, it was pretty rough. You know, I had to find a circle, a community of people that were close to me that I could confide in to really help me get through it. And, you know, to this day now, those people are still a part of my circle. It's a select few of ladies that some of them, our kids went to school together, and then some of us, we've just been friends for a long time. And that's what really got me through it.
Okay. Yeah, that year COVID it messed a lot of things up for people.
Oh yeah,
So
it was.
I like a smack in the face.
It was, and it's like I had just moved back here to Texas. Like, I moved back to Texas January of 2020, and then, you know, COVID hit in March. I felt the lump, like, underneath my arm in, like, May, and then it was just, like, after that, like, every month it was just something.
Oh, wow. So, what made you want to become a model?
My mom.
Your mom? Okay.
My mom put me in modeling school when I was 13. I attended John Casablanca Modeling School here in Dallas, Texas. And then we had moved to Oklahoma City, and I continued, and I finished in 1997. But at the time that I finished modeling school, it was not, the industry was not for my size. I was 5'3", you know, I had an hourglass shape, but I was dark-skinned. You know, that's not what the industry was looking for at that time. You know, they wanted tall, slender, light-skinned. We're just going to put it out there. That's what was out in the 90s, not the short, dark, you know, thick females. That's not what was out. So it didn't really hinder me, but I was just like, okay, that's not my thing. Let's move on. You know, I completed it. This is what my mom wanted. She wanted me to be more of a girl. So, okay, you know. And then in 2015, a friend of mine was becoming a photographer. And he was like, hey, do you mind coming, you know, to the studio and helping me out? I'm trying to get some pictures from my portfolio. I was like, sure, you know, why not? I needed headshots anyway because I had just started writing my books, and, you know, everybody was like, make sure you have headshots. So I was like, okay. Well, after that, that's when it kind of it picked up a little bit. But then breast cancer came, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not getting in front of a camera right now. And after I finished the first time with breast cancer, I got asked to be in a breast cancer awareness fashion show. And I was one of the sponsors. You know, I was in the program as being a cancer survivor, and that's when it really kind of took off. There were designers there and photographers there that were like, hey, let's link up. You know, you got the look, da-da-da. So I was like, okay, let's go. And it just took off. Like 2019, it was my first magazine publication, and ever since then, it's just soared.
Okay.
It surpassed what I was wanting it to do, and I'm so grateful for that because it's a platform for me to do more things and to express my experience to more women who are wanting to get in the industry who really don't know if it's for them or not.
So where you reside at now? Is there any models out there?
Oh, yeah, I'm in Dallas. I'm in North Dallas right now. Plan on staying here for a little bit. I'm glad to be back home. There's so many opportunities out here with writing and modeling. It's a hot spot right now.
So when you got back into modeling, did you speak to other models for assistance, or you already knew what to do? All right.
I kind of already knew what to do because I just reached back into modeling school. And, you know, some of those things you just never forget. You know, how to walk like a lady, walk like you've got confidence when you're doing your photo shoots, how to pose, how to keep the eye contact, how to do the non-eye contact, you know, and you've got to be versatile in this industry when it comes to modeling. You can't really stick to just the same thing all the time. You've got to be able to go outside of the box, and it wasn't hard for me, but that was one of my biggest fears, was just going outside of the box. Because sometimes you can go outside of the box and it backfires. So then it puts you back to your comfort zone and you don't want to go outside the box again. But when I started venturing out and going outside of my box when it came with my makeup, when it came with my outfit. It makes you more comfortable, but it also makes you more accessible to the industry.
So, just in case people don't get what you mean outside the box, could you explain that a little bit more, please?
Some models might say, I don't feel comfortable doing lingerie, which that was me. For example, I did not feel comfortable modeling in lingerie until I found a boutique that would adhere to my circumstances. Like, she knew me. She knew I only had one breast. So we found outfits for me that would make me feel comfortable, that I could still wear, and I wouldn't be like, oh, no, I don't know about that. I'm self-conscious with my body. But she found stuff for me to where when I did my shoot, you would have never known that I was uncomfortable doing that shoot. Like, you would have never known that I had questions regarding the shoot because the pictures came out fire. Everything was amazing. So it's things like that people will be like, oh, well, dang, if you can do that, then, yeah, you got to go outside your box sometimes because you never know. There are some people who they're not really with a lot of makeup. They want to stick to the more natural look. They don't want to venture out with colors and props and objects, on their face. That's just not their thing. But right now, that's what's hot in the industry, going outside the box with the makeup looks where you're doing different colors, you're doing bright colors, you're doing glitter, you're doing rhinestones on your face, things of that nature. And it's just, you got to take the courage to be able to make that step, especially in the modeling industry. Also with my size, I'm a thick girl. I'm not skinny, nowhere near it. And that's another thing with being able to show women that you can be size 11 and up and still look good in what you're doing. A lot of people will be like, no, you're not that size until they see me in person. And I'm like, yeah. I know how to put on a Spanx and put on a girdle, so it's like you don't see all of the rolls, when I'm doing photography. I'm like, but if you see me on an everyday basis, anybody that sees me will be like, dang, you thick. Yeah, I am. But I don't let that stop me from doing what I want to do, because you can still be a thick girl and look good and look classy and look sexy, all of the above, but you just have to know how to dress yourself and how to carry yourself.
So would you consider yourself a print, runway, fashion, or all above kind of model?
I am a print model. I used to do runway modeling, but I'm about to do my last runway show June the 11th, and then I am going to strictly be published. Print modeling is what my main focus is going to be on. I enjoyed it, but it's a lot of work, especially here in Dallas. There are so many different fashion shows that go on here, and a lot of them now are like requiring that the models pay a fee to walk. Like, designers are like, well, if you want to walk for me, you got to pay a fee. And I'm like, since when? What are y'all doing?
Okay.
And I tell models, that we have our community of models. I tell them all the time, if you ever pay to walk in a fashion show, you just desperate at that point. I'm like, because you should never pay a designer to walk for them. So, yeah, it's getting a little ugly. And then you've got the fashion shows where they're requiring you to come to practice like 3-4 times a week. And if you miss one practice, then you're not walking for them. Just, and I'm like, people have lives. Like, what are y'all doing?
So it must be frustrating, like, doing the runway shows as far as, like, walking down the runway and try to keep your mind focused.
Well, most of the times, anytime I tell people, when you are doing fashion shows, and most of the time the coordinators over the fashion shows, they let you know, like, if you're going to eat something, make sure you eat it early in the morning time. Eat something really light. Don't eat something really heavy, because you don't want to be bloated on the runway. That's another thing. You're wearing people's clothes that they have sized just for you. So, you don't want them having to make last-minute alterations. Most times you have to be at the venue 2 to 3 hours before the show starts. So you can go ahead and get in model mode. So it's not like you're just leaving a job and going straight to the runway. No, we have our time where we sit, we meditate, we pray right over our show. And, once you're around your model family, it kind of just clicks. If you are a professional model, you don't have a problem getting into model mode when it's time to go and do your walks or do your photo shoots. Like, it's a mindset that you have on a daily basis.
So have you ever, like, experienced any kind of, like, disrespect or hate, like, behind the scenes?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's life. And the thing is, like, when you're in a model family, people fail to realize of who talks to who outside of modeling events. So, yeah, it was, things that would come back to me about certain things, and I'll be like, really? And one thing that I'll always tell any model, I'll tell anybody, don't ever entertain negativity, because you're just going to block your blessing. So when I have heard things about me, I don't talk to anybody about it. I don't say anything. I don't confront that person. I just keep doing what I'm doing. Now, I might not put it on social media as much, but I'm still doing what I want to do. I used to, when I used to always get a publication, I would always post it on social media, like, oh, I got published again by this magazine, or, oh, I got published again to, and it got to the point where people were talking like, what is she doing? Is she paying to be in these magazines all the time? And I was like, whoa, really? Like, come on now. Like, it's not that serious. Like, I'm not paying to get put into a magazine. That's not what this is for. And so now I don't get on social media and brag or boast or anything about what I'm doing. Like, if it's something that I think people can be a part of, then I'll share the flyer. But as far as my publications go, I don't say anything until once I purchase my magazine and it's in my hand, then I'll show a post and giving gratitude to the magazine for letting me be a part, of their subscription. And right now I'm up to 30 plus publications.
Dang.
And so
I
tell people, but I tell people all the time, I let my work speak for itself. I don't feel like I need to, I'm not a social media model. Let's just put that like that. I'm not here to get likes and followers on social media. This is not why I do this. I do this to get my name across the globe. My next submission into a magazine is a magazine out of Australia. So this is what I am striving for. I'm striving for, just to be a household name outside of social media. This is what I'm wanting.
So, do you work with different photographers or mainly one?
I do. I that's another thing that I've just started doing is venturing out with different photographers. When I first got started, I just stuck with, about 2 or 3 photographers that I knew. But up to date now, I'm up to like 6 or 7 different photographers that I have used. And I want it to grow. I want to use more female photographers, more black female photographers that are out here in the industry that are trying to get their name out there as well. But you always want to have like your set photographers that like if you have something that you really need or a certain look that you're going for, that they can do that for you. But like I said, this also goes with going outside of the box. You got to venture out with different photographers and what they are wanting to do and what they are trying to do. And they also give you different insights because some photographers are strictly for fashion. So they are looking for the high fashion looks. They are looking, they want you to come dressed, ready to impress, and they want you to come with the different outfits and everything like that. So it's one of those things where it's always good to have more than one photographer on hand.
How important is it for you, not just you in general, but just like models and photographers, to be on the same page when it comes to photo shoots?
Oh, it's very important. That's like extremely important, especially if you are using a photographer that you've never used before. You all should first and forehand have a conversation. And I don't mean like a text message or inbox conversation. You all need to talk because just like with any job, you need to have chemistry with the person that you're working with. And if you don't have a chemistry with your photographer, if you don't have a chemistry with your model, if you feel something is off, if you feel odd, if you feel uncomfortable, that is something that you need to find out before you get to your shoot. Not getting to your shoot and you get a couple of poses in and then you're like, you know what, I can't do this. I'm not doing this. So I've found now here in the industry, photographers will say, hey, I'm looking for new models to shoot, So when you start inboxing them and then they all of a sudden tell you, well, I'm only looking for models that are this size, or I'm only looking to do boudoir photos, or, that's something you need to know. And like I said, if that's something you're not comfortable in doing, you don't have to do that shoot. There's so many models that'll be like, oh, well, he said this is all he does, so that's what I'm going to do. No, there are other photographers out there that'll do what you are wanting to do. You don't have to just submit to that photographer because you were needing a photographer at the time. Like if I'm needing a photographer for a outdoor shoot, summertime, I'm not going to go with a guy that says he only does boudoir, and then I do a boudoir shoot, and that's not what I was wanting. Gotcha. So most definitely, it's almost like a job interview. If a photographer is coming to you stating, hey, I want to shoot you, da-da-da, so it's like, okay, well, let's sit down and talk about it. Okay, this is an interview time. This is the point to see if he's going to hire you or not. The same thing goes when a model is looking for a photographer. She's like, hey, I want to shoot with you. Can we sit down and talk? Okay, this is when you need to have your questions ready. This is where you need to say, if I'm not comfortable with doing something, are you going to get offended? Are you going to get an attitude? Or are you going to, stop the shoot? Because there are a lot of photographers that will do that.
So far, as far as the photographers that you have worked with, who usually come up with the creative ideas, you or the photographer?
I'm going to say that's 50-50. Because anytime I go into a shoot, I already have a mindset of what I'm looking for and what I'm doing. But 9 times out of 10, my photographer will have a little bit more, something that I didn't think of. So it's like, okay, let's do that. I didn't think of that. And so it's kind of a 50-50 deal.
And I'm going to ask you a question that I always ask the models about photographers. So in your own words, can you please tell the people why it's important to do research when it comes to looking up photographers?
Because there's a thing out here now called sex trafficking.
Okay.
And you need to be safe at all times. I mean, that goes for males and females. You need to be safe at all times when you are doing photo shoots. And I'll tell any model, when you are using a photographer that you have never used before for the first time, always take somebody with you. Never go by yourself. I don't care if it's another model, if it's your makeup artist, your hairstylist, take somebody with you. Because this industry is, unfortunately, it can be very scary. We've had models that have gone on shoots, and middle of the shoot, the photographer is asking for sexual favors. So it's one of those things where your safety comes first amongst anything. I mean, I understand you are trying to be a model and everything like that, but yeah, your safety comes first.
So, okay, in case of a new photographer that want to reach out to you, what type of shoot would you do, or what type of shoot you wouldn't do?
I'm not a fan of just doing boudoir just to be doing boudoir. I feel like boudoir is supposed to be for that special someone in your life that you're wanting to, like, give a gift to. I feel like boudoir is for self-confidence. Like, if you are really needing to boost your self-confidence in yourself and within your inner beauty and your outer beauty, boudoir is, one of those things for you. Boudoir should not just be do a shoot that you are doing all the time. Because at some point, it doesn't become boudoir anymore. It becomes either soft nudity or it becomes lingerie. Just point blank, period. It's not a boudoir shoot after the first or two. Like, come on now. So that's not something that I specialize in. If I'm doing that, that'll be for that person that's in my life. It's not going to be for print. It's not going to be on social media. Like, it's strictly going from the photographer to print to him. That's it. Like, no behind the scenes, none of that. Besides that, there's nothing that I won't do. I am in the process of getting ready to do a prop shoot where we are using different props in the photo shoot, where there are props in my hair, like flowers, butterflies, lights, things of that nature, where it's more of a fashion prop thing. So we are in the process of getting ready to do one of those. Other than that, that's I think I've done almost everything else.
It is frustrating, like, especially like with a photographer, and what you do a certain pose, and you have to be there for like maybe 10 minutes or more, just for him to get the right shit.
No, because I've been there and done that.
Okay.
I've been there and done that when I've done poses where I've had to like have my arm up for a long period of time, and that gets, because your arm gets heavy. Like, people, it's like dead weight. So yeah, that can be very excruciating. I've done poses where I'm like having to stand on like one leg and have like the other leg up. Yeah, that can be a little. It can get there sometimes. Especially squatting. Like I said, I'm 42. Yeah. I was in a squat position one time for about 20 minutes, and let's just say, yeah, my knees were like, no. They were like, no.
So can you name some of the magazines that you've been featured on?
Ooh, I have been featured in Fashion Trends magazine, Pose magazine, Chic magazine, Strawberry Lit magazine, Women of Power magazine. I've been in the Pulse magazine, Humble Vixens, For the H magazine. It's based out of Houston. You're Worth It, Young Business Owners magazine. Yeah, that's the name of you.
Okay.
I think I named all of them.
Yeah, I was looking through your site and I saw you on Fashion Trends, and I didn't even know that was you. I remember I saw that picture before, but I had no idea that was you.
Oh yeah, that's me. He was one of the first publications to let me in his magazine. He was my first publication in 2019, and it was a swimsuit edition. And so that was my first swimsuit photo shoot, and they got submitted for him. And I have been trying to get to Georgia to do an actual shoot with him, but our schedules just keep conflicting.
And that the owner from Fashion Trends, the same owner for Slate magazine, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love him. He's great. He's very professional. He's very what's the word I'm looking for? He's very blunt, but he's straightforward because he knows the business and he knows how he wants his business to be run. So he's not going to sugarcoat it when it comes down to what he's looking for. I think the other day he had to make a post and ask people to stop sending him screenshot photos. And I was like, what? He was like, man, I don't know why they keep thinking I don't know that this came from their phone. I was like, oh, my God. He was like, it's bad. So
speaking of that, I get a lot of that, too, because I do magazines as well.
Okay.
So the crazy thing is, like, they'll send me photos from their phone, or they'll send me photos with, like, a double picture. And I'm looking at it like, I'm sure they looked at magazines before. Why do they think this magazine ready, like magazine material?
Yeah.
That's the part that killed me. Especially he always send me, then I always get the selfies.
Yeah. And you like, what makes you think I don't know that's a selfie? Like, you could at least use the tripod.
Yeah.
To make it look like a picture. But yeah, it's one of those things where I've had to, I've been on a podcast for models to talk about what to do and what not to do in the industry, and it's at a point where I'm like, I'm not gonna tell y'all no more. But he came out and said it, like, if you're gonna submit to a magazine, don't put all your pictures on social media that you have submitted to the magazine.
Yeah.
Like, because they're going to check your social media. That's why they ask for it. And it's like, if you were doing that, then they're like, they don't want to publish you because you've already shown everybody all of the photos. So that's another thing that I just recently had to start this year with. When I do a photo shoot, I have to let the photographer know, like, these photos are for a magazine. Please don't post any behind the scenes or anything like that on your social media tagging me in them until after this magazine has come out. And, you know, I'm like, and if this is something that and this is what we talked about before we do this shoot, so therefore they're okay with it. Because some photographers know they want to be able to show the behind the scenes. They want to be able to, once they get done with the photos, they want to be able to start showing them off. And, you know, I kind of, you know, I'm like, can you please, you know, just wait until it comes out? And they're like, sure, you know, no problem. Da, 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 da. It's like, okay, bet. So I've done photo shoots, but people haven't seen the photos. And, you know, people are like, oh, Alicia, what are you doing? You know, we haven't seen any of your work. And I'm like, you're not going to. Like, I did a workout photo shoot, and, like, right now, my profile picture that's on Facebook, that's the only picture that I didn't submit to one of the magazines. So that's the only one that I can really show, because I have 3 other publications that are getting ready to come out in, like, the next month or 2 that has those photos in it.
Okay.
And so I'm like, y'all, I can't put those pictures on there. Like, you guys are going to have to wait. So, yeah, I feel like, you know, hey, people need to get it together.
Yeah. They most definitely do.
Especially if you're serious about it. And to me, when they do stuff like that, they want to be social media models. Because, yeah, there are some that are serious about it, and there are some that they are just doing this for likes and followers on social media. That's all they're doing it for. They ain't never did no fashion runway. They've never been submitted to a magazine or nothing like that, but they got like 15K followers on Instagram, and, you know, they on TikTok all the time. That's a social media model. That's not a real fashion model.
As we talk about, there's a lot of social media models. So, cause they make it seem like it's the easy job to model, but can you let them know how hard it is?
Oh, it's extremely hard. I work a 9 to 5. I work a 40+ hour job during the week, and I have to schedule my photo shoots around my work schedule. You know, I have had to go in and tell my boss, like, hey, I need to get off at 12 because I got to be somewhere by 3, you know, and try to implement it into my life. Like, it's a career for me. This is not just for fun. When you are a social media model, you can do this for fun. You got you a ring light, you got you a tripod, you doing your makeup yourself at home, you know, and you posing, taking pictures, and, you know, you have those followers that look forward to that.
Yeah.
But when you are having to schedule a photo shoot, and you got to schedule a makeup artist, and you got to find a venue or a studio, it's a job. This is not for play. Like, because I'm spending money doing this, and when I'm having to put money into something, then I am dedicated to it, and I'm doing it for a purpose, not just to get clout off of social media at all.
So how do you feel seeing more and more plus-size BBWs entering the modeling field?
I love it. I love it. I think it is long overdue. I feel like if the BBW community would have been embraced back in the 90s, like, the fashion industry could be so much more than what it is now. We could have already had clothes for curves and not having to order stuff or having to have stuff altered. Like, there would have been clothes out there for us in the beginning to where it would have been a lot easier for the models to be able to come out and say, yeah, I can model that. I can wear that for you, because when you used to go to fashion shows, what did you see at fashion shows? Size 2 through 6. That was it.
Yep.
It was never anything like that. Was one of my biggest issues growing up, was finding a pair of jeans to fit. Like, that's horrible. Or finding a pair of jeans that were going to fit that weren't gapping in the back. It's like, if the industry would have accepted and brought on the plus size and thick women beforehand, it would have already blown up. Like, you could have had so many more plus size models than you have now. I feel like it's not a trend. It's just long overdue for women in our community, because now you have businesses that have plus size, or you have boutiques. Excuse me. You have boutiques that specialize in, plus size wear. Because I'm not big on top, but I'm big on the bottom. So it's like being able to go in and get me a medium or large top, and then still get some extra large pants that match the top. It's great. I was telling somebody the other day, it's crazy because I have to wear jeans to work, and the only place I can buy my work jeans is Old Navy because they stretch.
Okay.
They stretch, but they also fit your body. Like, I don't have a gap. I don't have to necessarily put a belt on, if I don't want to wear my jeans. I've also found there's a couple of boutiques online that specialize in, the stretch jeans. I think one of them is called swaghercom, that she specializes in jeans for thick girls, It's like they stretch, but they're still jeans. You can still wear them, and they're still going to conform to your body.
As long as you're comfortable in them, hey, that's what counts.
Hey, I need to be able to squat and not worry about, having to hold on to the backside of my jeans, because I know you done seen it. Trying to bend over, but she got to hold the back of her jeans so don't nobody see nothing back there. It's like, I don't want to have to be worried about that.
Gotcha. Most definitely gotcha. So why do you think, like, it took too long for the plus size to get out in the world, like as far as like fashion and modeling?
Because that's not what the modeling world was to start. If you look back to Marilyn Monroe, you look back to Cindy Crawford, Naomi, you look back to them when it all first started, what were their sizes? They were all the exact same size. There was no versatility in the fashion world. This is just what they quote unquote wanted fashion to be. This is all they had, like a tunnel vision when it came to what the fashion industry should look like and what they were looking for. I remember if you wanted plus size, you couldn't even find it in the store. Like, it was not available at all. Like, if you wanted plus size, you had to go to Lane Bryant, or you had to order offline from, like, I'm about to really tell my age, like Montgomery Ward and Sears. They had some things in their catalog for plus size. Because my mom was a plus-size woman, you know. But, you know, she was like 5'8", but she was thick.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, I watched her having to purchase pants that, you know, most of the time they had elastic in the way. She could hardly ever get a pair of pants that just buttoned because that's not what they sold in the store. You know, I remember growing up, I was a size 6 in the waist, but I had a size 11 behind. So nearly all of my jeans always had a gap in the back. And we would have to take them and get them altered. My cheerleading uniforms had to be altered every single year. Like, I never got a uniform that just fit right because of my size. So I feel like if the industry would have accepted the plus-size community and BBW community before now, we would have so many more resources. There could be so many more brands for BBWs than what we have now. I mean, we have a lot now, but I feel like it could have been enormous. Like, I think probably it's 2020 is when Nike really started going in for the plus-size community. Like, they still didn't adhere to the plus-size community. Like, it's taking a lot of brands time to really get into the notion that, like, this is here, this is what it is, and it's not going anywhere.
Okay.
Because I think in the beginning they felt like, oh, this might just be a fad, so we don't really want to jump on it too quick because, you know, it might go away. Thick women are not going away, sweetheart. Especially not with the way they running down to Miami getting BBLs done. Like, yeah. Yeah. And my thing is what people fail to realize when they go get a BBL, like, you not going to be the same size of your clothes. Like, you are now a thick girl. Like, you got to go get thick girl clothes. Like, you're going to be in a size 11, 13, whatever the case may be.
So why? All right, there's I have witnessed personally, like there's hate between the plus size community, like not just models, just people, period. And I might hear like, for example, I hear another female call another female a fat B, whatever, and I'm like, wow. And it's been going on for a while, not just like one particular person, but like a few people that have witnessed. And have you ever been a witness to that?
I have not been a witness to it. I have, you know, people talk. Like I said, people don't realize how small the modeling industry really is. Because, I mean, we're all family. Like, we all at some point are crossing paths with each other. We're either going to see each other at a photo shoot. We're either going to see each other at a fashion show somewhere. You know, our paths are going to cross. You're going to see somebody somewhere. So with that being said, I feel like that is one thing that needs to stop. That just needs to stop, period, in the African-American community, period. We need to stop downgrading and degrading each other and learn to uplift each other, no matter what the situation may be. I feel like if you are a grown person and you are mature enough, you should just walk away from the situation. There's no reason for the bickering, the yelling back and forth, the fighting. There's no reason for that. Like, just because you see somebody doing something that you wanted to do or you haven't done yet doesn't give you the right to belittle them. Like, that should give you more ambition to want to go out and do it for yourself, because you like, oh, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. Then go do it. But you don't have the right to sit there and tell somebody, like, well, what you modeling for? Like, you ain't pretty enough for that. You ugly. But are you doing it, though?
Yeah.
No, you're on the outside looking in. So what gives you the right to degrade something that I'm proud to be doing? So I feel like, especially like you said, if you are a thick woman yourself and then you want to call another woman a fat B or something like that, why though? At some point, this goes into your insecurity, like your self-confidence. This is something that you need to handle yourself. It has nothing to do with the other person, but you're lashing out at somebody else for what you haven't handled within yourself. Self-confidence is the key.
So what do you see the plus-size community 10 years down the line, especially like in the model fashion industry?
Oh, it's already there. You have these, you have the plus size society that's coming on. There's a new group called the Thick and Sassy that have just started here in Dallas. You have fashion shows that are just for. It was one called the Plus Size Takeover, where it's nothing but plus size models in the fashion industry. Now that more apparel companies like clothing lines are doing more plus size clothes, you have more opportunities for models to really get out there with their name, like modeling for Dillard's and Macy's and Forever 21, Victoria's Secret. Like, it's so much bigger than like what we think it is. Like, it's coming full circle now for everybody to be able to be a part of this industry. And I feel like, the more opportunities that are opened up, it's just more for us to take advantage of. Like, don't see it and say, oh, well, I wish I could. No, that's when you need to start, sending those emails, sending those comp cards, sending your portfolio over saying, I'm what you're looking for. I'm a plus size model. I'm a BBW model. I can wear that and wear it comfortably and make it look good. This is the time to show them that this is not just a fad, that this is something that is going to be here, that they'll always have models for it no matter what, so that they can grow their campaign just like that model and us BBW models can adhere to our modeling careers.
You know what I would like to see more in the community? Like more big male models.
Oh, yeah. They started that here, too. In the plus size, the plus out fashion show that just came, they had a lot of plus size male models as well. But with that, it also comes with getting male models to go outside of their box. So it's like, I feel like, because you got to be able to, like when you have your swimwear, just like with BBW females, you got to get a dude that's willing to be out here without his shirt off with just swim trunks on.
Yeah.
And be confident in that, and I feel like the more us women do it, that will grow the male community's confidence as well. Like, we got to be able to support our brothers and our men out here and say, babe, it's okay. All right, come on now. Like, let me see what you got. You want to model? This is what you want to do? Let me see what you got. We got to be able to really get you out there and get it done. Like I said, self-confidence is key. You got to be so confident within yourself before you can get out here and get in front of this camera. So, yeah, I feel like it's hard because, a lot of guys most guys aren't trying to save, like, plus-size dudes. They like, no, I got to go to the gym and I got to get rid of this. But I'm like, if you are, because I've seen some big guys that dress nice, Like, it can put on a three-piece suit and look way better than a skinny dude on any day. You know, I feel like it's all, like I said, it's all about how you carry yourself and how confident you are within yourself. That also starts with us as females. We got to start letting it be okay for them to be a plus-size male. Because if you want them to accept us being a plus-size female, we got to accept them being a plus-size male.
That's true. So, in your own words, what would be the pros and cons of being in the model fashion industry?
Well, we're going to start with the cons.
Okay.
The cons are not being accepted by your peers. Like I said, there is jealousy out there. There's greed. There's hate. Because people see you doing something that they wish they could do, but they don't take the initiative to do it. The con also is you got to be able to handle rejection. You got to have some thick skin in this industry. You got to be able to, if you go for an audition and they don't pick you, that doesn't stop you from going to the next one. I had a mentor that said you'll get 10 no's before you get that one yes. But you got to keep going until you get that yes. You can't just stop. And so that's another thing that's really big when you start out modeling, or even while you are modeling. You know, just like being an author, you hit a writer's block. In modeling, you hit a modeling block sometimes, where you're doing the photo shoots, you're auditioning for the fashion shows, and you're not getting accepted for anything. But it can be that one shoot, or it could be that one audition for a fashion show that takes your career off. So you have to just keep going. You have to keep putting the work in and not stopping just because you don't get accepted a couple of times. Another con is going to be everything happens at the right time. You can't expect everything to happen when you want it to. That was one of my biggest issues. I felt like my timing, I was like, why is my timing off? But you have to realize when the time is right, everything will happen in your favor, which for me it has. My pros, you meet so many unique and different people that you will have a relationship with for a lifetime. I have met people that I would have never dreamed of being able to be a part of the community with them, designers, photographers, people who have their own magazines. These are people that I can reach out to at some point and say, hey, I'm looking to do this, and, they give you good, valuable information. So a pro is really getting your Rolodex up on meeting people and having a connection with them for a long time. Another pro is your self-confidence. Modeling is something that can, if you have never felt like you've been seen or nobody sees, what you have to offer, this is a big pro, in this community to show who you really are, like your own individuality, because that's what modeling is. It is an individual job. It's not a group project. This is you and only you. You are selling yourself. This is what you're doing. So that is another pro for me. And one and last but least, it's networking. If you have a side business that you are doing, modeling is a great networking platform. Like, I sell so many books at fashion shows, it's amazing. So people find out, we're just, when you start sitting and you're just chit-chatting with people and they're like, what, you write books? Then everybody else over here, everybody pulls their phone out. What are they doing? They're looking at my books online. They're like, where can I order? Or you got some on hand. It's a great networking platform. That is one of my pros in modeling is I am constantly networking. I am constantly looking for people who want to write a book, who are like, oh, I thought about writing a book. Let's talk about it. Let's get it done, And so, yeah, that's another pro. If you were this small-time business owner or entrepreneur, I meet so many young ladies at fashion shows that have started sewing clothes. They're modeling to try to get to be a designer. Like, heck yeah, this is perfect for you. Or you got girls who are making waist beads, or they make jewelry, or they make their own accessories. So they're using modeling to kind of get, a jump start to find people to wear their accessories. Like, it is so amazing the networking that goes on at modeling events. So, yeah, that's another big pro.
So you have people that have lack of self-confidence. And how could people overcome that to build their confidence up?
Number one, it starts with your circle. You got to have people around you who are willing to boost your confidence. You don't need people around you who are constantly being negative. You don't need people who are going to be negative towards you. I used to hate when I saw people that said, those are my friends, but I constantly hear them talking about, are you really about to eat that? Like, you need to go to the gym, or you need to do this. You don't need people in your circle who are negative towards you. Like, that is the number one thing. You need people around you who are going to be positive for you. That is the first thing with building up your self-confidence. And also, you need to wake up every morning telling yourself that you have a purpose, that you're not just here to be living. Like, you have a purpose in life. There's a reason for you being here, no matter what you want it to be. My purpose in life is to help others. My purpose in life is to be beautiful. My purpose in life is to uplift other people. Like, you've got to have a purpose when it comes with self-confidence. And I feel like, if anything, always get up in the morning time and tell yourself that you are beautiful. Always tell yourself that you are gorgeous. Always tell yourself that you are fearless and wonderfully made. You have so many people in the industry who grew up being told that they were ugly, that they weren't beautiful, they were never going to be beautiful, wasn't nobody ever going to want them. And that sticks with you over time. But you got to be the one to start telling yourself that you are beautiful, that you are gorgeous. There's nothing that you can't do in the world. Like, you've got to start having this conversation with yourself on a daily basis, no matter what. No matter if you're having a bad day, no matter if it's on hard times, whatever the case may be, you've got to start speaking positivity into yourself. And once you start doing that, your self-confidence is going to build. Your self-confidence is going to glow. Other people are going to see it. But you've also, like I said, having that circle around you for that positivity to rub off on you. Like, no, your circle can't build your self-confidence. That's why it's called self-confidence. You got to do it yourself. But having people around you that are positive, that's going to help you bring awareness to having your own self-confidence.
So what else you got going on?
Oh. Let's see. I just got asked to do a photo shoot this Saturday. I'm sitting here during the podcast with you trying to find me a makeup artist for Saturday, because she is going to be doing, it's a black female photographer. It's ironic that we were talking about that. And she's doing, she had a model and her model canceled on her. And so she had made a post that she was looking for a model, and I was like, what time Saturday? And she's like, 2 o'clock. I was like, ooh, I'm there. I get off at 12. So, and she is looking to submit her work into a publication. So I'll be doing that. I have a fashion show on the 11th of June. It is the Splash of Summer fashion show. It is my sister's fashion show. It's her second annual Splash of Summer fashion show. She also models. And then in July, I will be speaking at Women of Purpose Tour. It is a event that is going to be in Fort Worth, Texas. And then in September, I will be in Oklahoma City speaking at the No Shades of Grey 3rd Annual Breast Cancer Awareness Fashion Show. So, yeah, I'm always busy.
Okay. So for females that need guidance getting into the modeling scene, what words do you have for them?
Do it. Don't let somebody tell you that you can't do it. If you are wanting to start modeling or you are interested in modeling, do your research. Find modeling coaches that are in your area and link up with one of them. Get to a one-on-one consultation. Let them know what you are trying to do. Don't just say, oh, I want a runway model, but you don't really like wearing heels. Maybe that's not for you. Maybe you need to start with print modeling or just fashion modeling. But if you are wanting to model and this is something you have said that you want to do, then do it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't. My biggest motto, you'll see it on my website, it says, don't let you stop you from being great. If you have something that you want to do, the only person stopping you is yourself. Nobody else. There's enough resources online. There are enough resources in your state to where you can get started in the modeling industry and get to where you want to be.
And again, how can people get to purchase your books?
You can go to my website, www.Alycia, and that's Alicia with a Y, ALYCIAMICHELLE.com. And if you click on the tab that says author, it will bring up all of my books. And when you click on the cover, it will take you straight to the link to purchase that book.
So how can people reach out to you? What's your contact info?
My email address is going to be A1Perfection, PERFECTION.AM@gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Alycia Michelle. There is a space in between there. You can inbox. I'm on Instagram, model_Alycia Michelle, all lowercase letters. And you can also reach out to me on my website. There is a book with me on there. So if you just have any information when it comes to writing books, modeling, getting into the industry, wanting me for a shoot or for a magazine submission, you can put it all on the website there, and I will get back to you. My phone is constantly in my hand, so it only probably takes me like a couple of hours to get back to someone if they are reaching out to me. So I am always available.
Any shout-outs?
Yeah. We're going to give a huge, huge shout-out because her 1-year anniversary is coming up on Saturday. My sister has her own coaching business called New Identity Modeling. You can find it on Facebook and Instagram. Her name is Yolanda the Model. If you are in the Dallas area and you're wanting to start modeling, look her up. I'm going to give a huge shout-out to Eric Nikon, who is the CEO of Fashion Trends Magazine, Ken Williams, Scott, Eli, Reginald Marbury, my MUA, Shakiria Marbury, Audrey, Malika, just anyone that I have worked with in the industry. I just want to thank them so much for giving me the opportunity and continuing to let me be a part of their dream and their focus and their projects, because there's just so much going on, especially now that the world has opened up. So it's like we're all trying to play catch up on, you know, things that we have missed out on. So I'm just still excited to be able to be here and still be able to be a part, and people, you know, not see me for what I've been through, but for what I am and what I'm trying to be.